ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦਿਸ ਐਪੀਸੋਡ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸ਼ੋ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਈ 2017 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ BC ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਸਰੀ ਫਲੀਟਵੁੱਡ ਤੋਂ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਪੀਟਰ ਫੈਸਬੈਂਡਰ ਜੋ ਹਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਰਵਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਪਿਛੋਕੜ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਐਜ਼ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ। ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਪੀਟਰ ਫੈਸਬੈਂਡਰ ਦਾ। Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. Sat Sri Sakal to all of your viewers.
Thank you very much. Sat Sri Akal. Thank you. So, Mr. Peter Fassbender, we would like to start with your background. You know, in public life, it's been over 2 decades now since you have been serving the public. But before that, how did you enter into politics, and what all have you done so far?
Well, I started simply because my wife and I said, you know, we live in community, we want to give back. So I volunteered for the Recreation Commission and a number of things like that. I was involved provincially. I was the president of the BC Sports Federation and a director of the Canadian Sports Federation. So I was always a person who got involved and wanted to give back. And then I was a school trustee for 4 years, a councillor for 3 years, the mayor in the city of Langley for 9 years, and then I was approached by the premier and a number of other people to run in the 2013 election.
And that's how you, but you have a vast period of public experience, you know, like you said, you were a councillor and then a school trustee also. Now, in public life, when you enter into public life, your life changes absolutely because there are a lot of demands on you. People expect a lot from you. What has been your experience as a public person?
Well, I love people. You have to want to be engaged with people. You want to be out in the community and working with people to make a difference. So for me, the experience has always been positive. I clearly recognized from the beginning of my involvement that not everybody's always going to agree with you, and that's the beauty of democracy. We live in one of the greatest countries in the world, one of the greatest provinces in this country, and to be able to give back and to make a difference is really a very satisfying thing.
You have also been involved with journalism also, and you know, that period also was very fascinating for you. You spent quite a lot of years. So from journalism to politics, how much alignment do you think you were able to bring in that experience into public life? Because in journalism also you're involved with the public and you are well aware of what's happening around you.
Well, my excuse me, my communications background gave me a real understanding of one of the keys that all of us have is to make sure that we communicate well to people. If you have an idea, you need to be able to communicate it. You need to engage people. You need to bring people along. You have to be able to communicate vision. And, you know, people want leaders who have a vision, who are not against things but are for things.
Right.
And that has always been where I have been. I've always focused on letting people know what I believe we collectively, because the one thing I know is that no one is an island unto themselves.
Right.
We all need other people to work with.
Absolutely. All over the world we are finding, you know, people are becoming cynical of the politicians. What do you think? Why is this happening? And especially in a country like Canada, there are a lot of expectations from a public figure. But when these are not fulfilled, people just turn away. Or during campaigns, there are a lot of promises, but when they are not fulfilled, people's cynicism increases. So what do you feel? Why is this happening and what can be done about it?
Well, I think it's happening because very often politicians, and I include myself in this in my early days, are reticent to really tell it like they believe it is, because there's a risk in doing that.
Absolutely.
But I think we have a responsibility to be straight up with people, to communicate clearly, to bring our ideas to the table, But then I think we have a greater responsibility, and that is to listen to others, to make sure that they know that their opinions are valued.
Right.
Doesn't mean we'll agree all the time, but we value each other's perspectives. And I think we have a real responsibility when we make a mistake, stand up and say it. We're only human.
Right.
You know, there's no special class for politicians. We are as human as anyone else. And I've always learned that when I learn something new and it means that I should change my opinion,
Right.
I'm prepared to stand up and say, I've changed my mind because I've learned something that I didn't know even a week ago.
So basically being transparent and being truthful.
Totally. And engaged.
Absolutely.
Making people know that you're really engaged and that you care.
You've achieved a lot in your life, you know, from starting at in communications to minister now. A lot of achievements which you must be proud of. Today we would like to know some of the achievements, what you think as Peter Fassbender you have contributed back to the community which you are proud of.
Oh, there's so many, and it isn't always the big aha moments, you know. I can't say I built the Portman Bridge. I think the greatest achievement that I'm very humbled by is being able to serve the community.
Right.
And whether it was being able to negotiate the longest settlement in the history of the province with the BC Teachers Federation, which means we have stability in our school system so we can change our curriculum for the benefit of children. I've got grandchildren. They're going to benefit from the fact that we don't have disruptions, that we can retool our curriculum. So that is a major point where I was able to represent our premier and our government and achieve that. But you know, even some of the things that I did when I was the mayor in helping to build overpasses over the railway tracks in our community so the traffic could move around and transit could be more efficient.
Right.
So there's a number of things. I think the most satisfying is to look back and say, I've helped to make a difference.
Great. You have held various portfolios, you know, being education minister, now sports minister, cultural minister, and in charge of TransLink also. We'll go for a short break, come back and learn more about, especially when it comes to TransLink, you know. British Columbia is growing at a fast pace, and especially the lower mainland is the major focus where people want to come and stay. So what, as a minister, are you proposing? What is in future which we can see over here? We'll talk about this after this short break.
Thank you.
ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜੋ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਪੀਟਰ ਫਾਸਬੈਂਡਰ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਟਰਸਟੀ ਵਜੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ, ਸਕੂਲ ਟਰਸਟੀ ਵਜੋਂ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹ ਮੇਅਰ ਰਹੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ 2014 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਰ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਕਲਾਰਕ ਦੇ ਕਹਿਣ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲੜੀ। ਹੁਣ ਮੁੜ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲੜ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਫਲੀਟਵੁੱਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਨੁਮਾਇੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਅਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਚੀਜ਼ 'ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਾਣ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਹੰਬਲਡ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੌਕਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ। ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਪਰਸਨ ਹਾਂ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਜੁਲ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸੋਲਿਊਸ਼ਨਸ ਨੇ ਲੱਭ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮਸ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਲਿਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਮਾਣ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਐਜ਼ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ BCTF ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਲੰਬੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਸਟ੍ਰਾਈਕ ਜੋ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਸੋਲਵ ਕਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਯੋਗਦਾਨ ਪਾਇਆ ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਹੋਰ ਬੜੇ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਕੰਮ ਅਤੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਐਜ਼ ਟਰਾਂਸਲਿੰਕ ਦੇ ਇੰਚਾਰਜ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੀ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨੇ, ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ। JP ਟਰਾਂਸਮਿਸ਼ਨਸ ਉਹ ਵਨ ਸਟਾਪ ਟੋਟਲ ਆਟੋ ਕੇਅਰ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ट्रांसमिशन रिपेयर रीबिल्ड, ऑटोमैटिक ते स्टैंडर्ड क्लचेस, डिफरेंशियल, जनरल रिपेयर, हर किस्म ਦੀਆਂ ਡੋਮੈਸਟਿਕ ਇੰਪੋਰਟਡ ਤੇ ਯੂਰੋਪੀਅਨ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਸਰਵਿਸ। 1 ਟਨ ਤੋਂ 5 ਟਨ ਟਰੱਕ, ਜ਼ੂਜ਼ੂ ਤੇ ਹੀਨੋ ਲਈ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਸਕੈਨਰ। ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮਲਟੀ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਚੈੱਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਰਿਪੇਅਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਬੈਸਟ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਲਈ ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਆਓ 8951 152 ਸਟਰੀਟ ਸਰੀ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਪੈਬ ਮਹਲ ਸ਼ੰਭੂ 6045891217। Once again, welcome back to the program. ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਪੀਟਰ ਫੈਸਬੈਂਡਰ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਟਰਾਂਸਲਿੰਕ ਦੇ ਇਹ ਇੰਚਾਰਜ ਨੇ। ਟਰਾਂਸਲਿੰਕ ਦਾ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਕਾਈ ਟ੍ਰੇਨ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਬੱਸਿਸ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਮੱਸਿਆਵਾਂ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਆਓ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੁਝ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ, ਬਿਫੋਰ ਦ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਯੂ ਮੈਂਸ਼ਨ ਅਬਾਊਟ TransLink, ਨਾਓ ਯੂ ਆਰ ਦ ਇੰਚਾਰਜ ਫॉर TransLink। this place is growing at a very fast pace. Is the government being able to cope up with this increased change in demographics and also the increased population over here? And what do you have in mind for TransLink?
Well, there are many issues when it comes to transportation, and it's we always talk about moving people, but it's also about moving goods and services throughout the region.
Right.
So if we can provide transportation alternatives to the public, so they don't need to drive their cars, that allows the service people and the goods movement strategies to be fulfilled as well. That's why it's important to build infrastructure.
Right.
People say, well, if you really want to get people out of their cars, don't build bridges, just make it really difficult. But that means it makes it difficult for the truck drivers who I honor and the work that they do, that they will have trouble getting around. So that doesn't make any sense. But when it comes to moving people, we have said clearly, we as the provincial government, along with our federal partners, need to invest in expanding our system. So the Broadway corridor in Vancouver, but here south of the Fraser, we have the desire and the need to build a 27-kilometer system that will ensure that people can move throughout the region. And we're expanding bus service, and as you know, recently with the phase 1 of the mayor's vision, we in the federal government and the region have invested, so we have more bus hours in all of the communities in Metro Vancouver. We're going to be building the L line first in Surrey to help build that downtown core in that part of the city.
Right.
The extension to Langley's to connect people from throughout the region for the jobs that we're developing in Surrey and Langley and Abbotsford. So there's lots of work that we have to do. And one of the keys from my point of view, and when the Premier asked me to take on responsibility for TransLink, is I wanted to help us to move forward. It's always a challenge. I sat at the Mayor's Council table.
Right.
I was the chair for a period of time. Lots of politics amongst the mayors.
Right.
Lots of politics with the mayors and the province and the federal government. My attitude always is, let's not focus on the problems. Let's look at the solutions.
Right.
What is our vision and how do we get there? Is it going to be easy? No. Are we always going to agree? No. Is there always enough money to do everything that you want to do?
Right.
No. But taking the steps shows the public we're committed to realizing the vision that is there. And that is what I've tried to do. And I will say this, since I've been the minister, I've challenged the mayors and the local communities.
Right.
We've worked with our federal partners, and we've made some movement.
But another major issue is the increasing theft in Surrey. Our builders are tired of the copper wires being stolen. I was sitting with one auto trader and he was telling me how auto theft is also increasing, and when they go to the police, things are not working the way they should, and we hope that focus is done on this aspect also, that these people get the kind of sentencing they need so that they're not back on the roads.
And that is, the court system needs to be revamped. That's a federal jurisdiction for the most part.
Right.
But you know what? Again, we need to look at everything to make communities safe, to make people feel that leadership cares. I know Mayor Hepner and her council care. I know that the RCMP in Surrey care. I know the MLAs who represent this community on both sides of the House care. We need to continue to work together. We need to invest where it's needed. We now have a full complement of RCMP.
Right.
And we need to continue to focus on all aspects of what makes a community a great place to live.
Minister, you mentioned about the truckers issue. Could you just elaborate on that? That where do we stand now? Because United Truckers Association says that that agreement which was done with the province, many of the points have still not been resolved. So where do we stand and what is being done?
Well, that's not true. And I know for whatever reason there is comment being made that the province hasn't lived up to its commitments.
Right.
We have fulfilled all 14 points.
Okay.
We do not have solutions to every issue within those 14 points, like truck tags.
Right.
We know that the commissioner needs to work on that. Minister Stone has announced that he's prepared to give the Commissioner's Office more resources
Right.
to be able to investigate the accusations of bullying and improper practices. He needs to finish the audits of companies to make sure the truckers are paid,
Right.
and that will be happening. And we are pressuring the federal government and the Port of Vancouver, which is not our responsibility,
Right.
to do what they need to do to solve the issues there.
Time doesn't permit me to ask you. There are a lot of questions to be asked, but finally, because elections are another 3 months away, and definitely we'll have you back with more issues which concern your riding as such. Finally, in your riding, what are the major issues which you are listening from the public and which you will work upon, and why should the public vote again for Peter Fassbender?
Well, the issues are transportation, education, healthcare. Those are the major ones.
Right.
We've got a growing and dynamic community. The public needs representatives that will work hard for them. And my message to the people of Surrey and Surrey Fleetwood is, look at what I've accomplished in the 4 years that I've been honored to be the MLA for Surrey Fleetwood. And I simply ask you to look at what I've done, how hard I work, and whether my motivation is for you and to make the community better. And I believe it is, and I think my track record speaks to that. So I just simply say, look at that. I'm not going to argue about my opponent or anything. I'm going to stand on my record and what I've done, and I take no exception to the fact I've worked as hard as I can.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you and best wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you. ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਪੀਟਰ ਫੈਸਬੈਂਡਰ ਨੇ ਅਖੀਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਓਵਰ $200 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਸਕੂਲਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਬਾਦੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੱਧ ਰਹੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਚੈਲੰਜਸ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਫੇਸ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸੋਲੂਸ਼ਨਸ ਲੱਭ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਟਰੱਕਰਸ ਦੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇਲਜ਼ਾਮ ਲਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਸ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਈਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਪੂਰੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ, ਪਰ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਜੂਰਿਸਡਿਕਸ਼ਨ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਅਖੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਂ ਵੋਟ ਪਾਈ ਜਾਏ, ਜੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਵਾਟ ਐਵਰ ਵਰਕ ਹੀ ਹੈਜ਼ ਡਨ ਇਨ ਦ ਪਾਸਟ, ਦੈਟ ਇਜ਼ ਵਾਟ ਹੀ ਇਜ਼ ਪ੍ਰਾਊਡ ਆਫ। ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਵੋਟ ਪਾਓ। ਓਪੋਨੈਂਟਸ ਜੋ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਕਹਿਣ, ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਹਾਰਡ ਵਰਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਤਾਲਜੁਲ ਹੈ, ਮੇਲ ਜੋਲ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਵੋਟ ਪਾਈ ਜਾਏ। ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਮਈ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਪੀਟਰ ਫੈਸਬੈਂਡਰ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਲਿਆਈਏ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਟੱਚ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਵਿਸਥਾਰ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ।